It's Wednesday, and you know what that means? It's time for the latest live weekly event from Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. This week we do have the Grand Tour available up until the 9th of July. How about taking a spin on a Grand Tourer? Our most powerful touring cars are in the limelight this week. Enter these races to win a super reward. Yeah, it's a sticker. Super. I'm into this from the outset. I like Grand Tourers. Let's take a look at what we've got in store this week. Starting things off on Ibiza today, we have got 3 races over here. First of all, we have got Prestige in motion, a 3.3 mile clear asphalt sprint, obviously in a Grand Tourer, with a minimum PR of 620. That's a big sprint. For Ibiza, that is. Yeah, it's probably going to be quite a quick one as well. I like to see it. Moving on over next to Panzer Clash. Another 2.8 mile sprint. Clear, 93% asphalt, 7% gravel. I don't think the gravel is going to give us too much consequences, but I don't want to speak too soon. In the Bentley GT Continental with a max PR of 1000. Happy to be back in the Bentley, of course. And then lastly on Ibiza here, we've got Prestigious Tour, a 2.9 mile 3-lap, once again dry asphalt race, Grand Tourer category, maximum PR of 620. Now of course we're coming into a weekly event all around the Grand Tourers, and I'm going to kick things off in the Bentley GT Continental. Now we're going to have one caveat to this week, and it's the Porsche Taycan. The Porsche Taycan is obviously very broken in this category, and I don't own the Taycan, and I don't want to own the Taycan, so my probable best Grand Tourer is indeed the Bentley GT Continental. It's just me being stubborn, I know that, but I'm not going to change my stubborn ways. I'm going to stick with my GT Continental, and we're going to kick things off today with the Panzer Clash, the GT Continental race, max PR of 1000. 93% asphalt, 7% gravel. So coming into it, I do not have a fully modified GT Continental for this one. I think I'm around about 800 PR, give or take a couple there. But I'm coming in to have a little bit of fun. We may revisit these races, of course, in a stream at a later date. But as it is, I'm just going to come in with the GT Continental as it has been kind of put together. I believe the last time I actually used this was the broken navigation mission on this very map. So it's not built for this race specifically, but regardless, I'm going to be in it and I'm going to have a lot of fun, and the chances are I'm going to use this car again in this week's live weekly event, because my word, it is just a fantastic Grand Tourer. Don't make that mistake. Coming into the off-road section a bit too hot there, and there's a big puddle of drink to the right hand side. That's going to catch out a lot of people. I like it when we have those obstacles, I'm going to say obstacles calmly, in front of us. I don't mind that. That is a very tricky off-road section. I genuinely don't think I've ever driven across that before on this map. That is maybe one of the places I've not personally been. But it's good to get those obstacles on the course. A lot of people are going to get tripped up there like we had last week with the turn off the intersection in the Mercedes races. So I like it. It gives a little bit of a difference to the course. Good on you guys putting this track together. Nonetheless, yeah, it's going to be very broken this week, especially in that Porsche Taycan Turbo S or Taycan S, whatever it is we've actually got in the game. It's a very fast Grand Tourer. Not a lot of things are really going to stack up to it. In my opinion, the next best Grand Tourer in this game is, of course, the GT Continental, which is why I personally have it. I prefer the car over it, so I'm going to be using it. Well, of course, this race specifically is for the Bentley GT Continental, so yeah, the Porsche won't be beating it in this one. At least it will be a Bentley at the top of the board, and it will be somebody apart from myself, because I haven't really set an overly impressive time coming into this race. We're not the worst, but it's not the best time, especially not going into the big puddle of water. That's not ideal, but it's a quick race. We don't mind quick races. We're going to get through this live weekly event fairly quickly, it feels like. And as we can see, wow, that's actually quite a big surprise. The Grand Tour live weekly event is 50 points only. One race win per event, and you've completed out this week's live weekly event. I don't mind it, considering the end reward is simply a GT sticker, which is probably one of the best stickers we've actually had so far, ironically. But yeah, 5 race wins. This week's live weekly event will be completed. And with that, we can of course then head on over to our second race, just around the corner from where we were for the Bentley race, into another sprint, I believe it were, or was this a lap race? Let's take a quick look. It is Prestigious Tour. It is a 3-lap circuit race, 100% asphalt, Grand Tourer. Max PR this time out is 6:20. And of course, in the interest of keeping things fresh, we're going to use a different car for the race. We're going to use the Ferrari Portofino, another car I don't really think I've used all too much since I bought it for the live weekly event where we needed a Ferrari Portofino. So I'm not against using different cars for these races. Maybe we find a hidden gem. Unsurprising that we're going to be up against some Porsches here, and I won't be surprised to see a Porsche win this race. What has happened to the exhaust noise for the Portofino? I know there was a fix or a patch done from the devs, but I can barely hear the exhaust note. When we get to the higher end of the rev range, yes, I can start to hear it. That is so unbelievably quiet. The fact, obviously, I'm not surprised I can hear the Aston Martin over this. It's much, much louder. I'm very, very surprised at how quiet this Ferrari has gotten now. Wow, okay, totally distracted with that one, guys, sorry. Up against the Mercedes at the front here, that was actually going to be the other choice for this race, but I was thinking, you know, we used Mercedes in last week's live weekly event. I like to explore the cars I've got here, and I'm totally taken aback by the noise that this Ferrari no longer has. Obviously, when we're by ourselves, we can hear ourselves a little bit clearer, but yeah, I'm so unbelievably distracted and racing a little bit dirty there to make sure I keep, or I get to the front of the pack, because I kind of want to complete off this race and think about what's actually happened with this Ferrari. I know it was one of the patches where they adjusted the exhaust note for this car, but it feels a hell of a lot quieter. And I know the soda letter, they were obviously talking about fixes to come, hopefully exhaust notes are some of them, because this game captures audio fantastically well, especially engine sounds, and it'd be a shame if it stays as quiet as some of these cars are. Nonetheless, we've managed to get our nose to the front of the grid in quite a poor fashion, but we've got to the front of the grid nonetheless. We're going to take a race win here. We've obviously got one more lap to get through here. It's actually another fairly quick race that we have got. Yes, it's probably the downside to the Ibiza map. The races are quicker, but sometimes being quick's alright. Don't let her tell you anything differently. Sometimes, yeah, these quick races are just what we need to, you know, keep us in there and blast through the weekly event. I know a lot of people will be happy about that one. Don't want to speak too soon because I haven't yet seen the the Hong Kong Island races. But so far, the first Bentley race and this first circuit race that we've got on Ibiza, they're very, very good races and very quick races at that. A few shortcuts it looks like can be taken, which we don't mind shortcuts. Yeah, I don't mind it at all. And of course we bag our second win, so we get our second set of points up to 20 of 50 at this point now. Where we can now finish off the Ibiza races. If I remember correctly, we should be back down towards the hotel, what's it called, Celine HQ here on Ibiza, if my memory serves me right from when we looked at the races coming into it. I do want to be heading back down this way just to check. Yes, it is. We're going to take a right then a left down here. Yeah, we'll head on over, we'll dust off these Ibiza races and then head on over towards Hong Kong Island. And again, we're going to box off this week's live weekly events fairly quickly, it seems like, this week. Are we down here? Yes, we are. Yeah, so far, so good. Lackluster reward for many. I actually, in terms of sticker rewards, now I've been clear about this, I don't love these sticker rewards. I think they're measly rewards for what we're doing. But in terms of the stickers that we've got recently, where on earth am I going? Let's have a chat. In terms of the stickers that we've got, And what we've been given recently, I think this Grand Tourer sticker is probably one of the best looking stickers that we've had so far. Not to say it's the reward I want or we should be getting, but in terms of those stickers, I don't mind the GT sticker that we're going to get this week. Enough rambling. Prestige in motion. 3.3 mile sprint. It's clear, it's asphalt, it's Grand Tourers with a minimum RP of 820. Where of course, I had to use my Aston Martin at some point this week. Bit of a strange motion into today's race, nonetheless. Yeah, I had to use Aston Martin at some point here. Fantastic car, sounds ridiculous, as does most Aston Martins in this game. So yeah, very happy to be in it right here. I think we're around about 930 PR coming into this race, and we're up against another Aston Martin at the front there. I did completely lose the back end coming into those corners just there, so that's on me. Unfortunately taking liberties into the right-hander and hitting an AI car, but at least it wasn't somebody else, and it was another Aston Martin who is fairly close behind us. From here I'm going to hopefully look to stretch out a bit of a lead, and I have just noticed one glaringly obvious thing. The bottom right hand corner, I've got traction control on, and that all stems from Monday's stream where we were racing with the community. Racing through last week's live weekly event races, as we've started to do, and in the Mercedes GTR I put traction control on to see how we were, and I forgot to turn it off, and this is the first time I've played the game since that stream, hence, or to kind of give a narrative of where I am with the game right now. Obviously done the Solar Crown review letter yesterday. If you missed it out guys, check it out after today's stream. Have a breakdown of it and might give my honest thoughts on that one as we cross the football field here and don't have the best of entries. Yeah, Solar Crown letter, I finally gave my review of it, gave my honest thoughts on it, and where I think things could be improved, so check that out after today's video. I would appreciate that one. But yeah, Aston Martin in this race, good car, fairly poor driving, can only apologise, but onto the freeway section, this is where I think the Aston Martin will come into its own, other than the Porsche Taycan. I don't know there's many Grand Tour vehicles which are quicker, I would say quicker than the Aston Martin, as I butcher the entry to the tunnel there. This is a fantastic car in the game. If you've not got it, I would encourage you to try it out. I do love it, and of course it sounds ridiculous. But yeah, another easy win on the board, just a couple of minutes for every race so far. Where we do, of course, pick up our third set of points, 30 out of 50. Now let's head on over to Hong Kong Island and see what we've got in store just there. And in Hong Kong Island, we've got a couple of races. First of all, Quicksilver, another Grand Tourer circuit race, 7.2 miles this time out, just 2 laps, foggy at night time on asphalt. Chances are that could be a wet one, foggy nighttime race. We'll have a look when we get there. Max PR, again, 620. And then lastly, we've got Outer Wilds, 3.8, 3-lap circuit race this time. Cloudy and dawn, 100% asphalt again, with a max RP of 620 once again. So just a couple of races to box off the live weekly event here over on Hong Kong Island. Yeah, this is where the trepidation comes in for a lot of these events on Hong Kong, especially when they list them as either cloudy, foggy or nighttime. The suspicion rises that we may see some wet racing. So we'll kick it off on Hong Kong with Outer Wilds, that 3-lap circuit race with a max PR of 620. And I'm going to risk it this time out. I'm going to use my BMW M4, very lady car, but reducing that PR down to, I think, 615. I just used the auto PR for this one. Yeah. I've not done all too many miles in this thing, putting too much power into it. It's largely been a very difficult car to use in the game. And then, is this a wet race or not? It looks like we've got a little bit of standing water, and I believe I've got slick tyres fitted to this one. Traction control is still turned on, however, as we're totally lent on there for the Aston Martin. Yeah, there is a little bit of water here. I don't think so far it's going to cause us all too many problems. Back end tried to step out just a little bit there, but with a little bit of traction control we're doing alright. Nice little right hand, left hand there. Carry a hell of a lot more speed than that. Interesting to see an Audi e-tron GT in the race. I did think about using it, but then it comes back to the aspect that I don't want to be using EVs in a racing game. I like to have some noise. The BMW does sound quite good. Again, it feels a little bit quiet. I don't know if something's changed across the board with car audio, or maybe I'm only just starting to notice it, but it seems like cars are a lot quieter just now. The M4 though, fantastic car. My own fault with this vehicle. I built it, put way too much power through it, and I made it very much undrivable. It just turns into a drift monster, which, you know, isn't a bad thing for some people. As it is, reducing it down to the 615 PR, it's tame. I'm going to say that one, it's tame. It's a controllable car, maybe not the best tyres fitted for the race we've got, but hey ho, it is what it is. Realistically, it's not too much water. I think we will get away with slick or maybe even semi-slick tyres for this race, but as we can see, it's not too challenging to keep this thing under control for this race. If I could avoid some lampposts, at least I've ticked them off the bingo card for today's video. But yeah, it's actually quite a nice little race, this one. I don't mind it all too much, especially in a car which probably wouldn't normally win this race. Let's be honest. In real life, yeah, fantastically fast. In game, handles horribly. And then you put it up against that Aston Martin, the GT Continental, the Porsche Taycan. I would probably even put that e-tron GT in there as well if you can build it properly. Definitely, I think it would beat this car. So yeah, up against the AI, it's no surprise it's not going to be much of a problem keeping the M4 at the front of the grid. We've got a good lead over the rest of the pack. It's going to be another nice, easy win to get us through the race here. What about almost 10-second lead over the AI? That's fine. It's not been a fast race. They never are when I do live comment these ones, guys. We're getting better at it, I feel. But yeah, it's not the most exciting or the quickest of races that could be done. Nonetheless, we're winning it. We're starting to take some risks as well. Starting to miss some lampposts, which is always a good thing. A little bit tighter coming down the hill there as well. Yeah, feels like we're getting a little bit better at this one. Hurrah! Nonetheless, we'll push forward. We'll get this race finished off. We've got 12.5-second lead over the rest of the pack. Nice easy win, guys. I don't think we're going to have many problem in... Spoke too soon. I don't think we're going to have many problems in this week's live races. So far, they have been a little bit of a cakewalk, perhaps. Not using the OP cars for the races gives us a bit of a better challenge. As I've disconnected once again, this happened on Monday's stream. I need to figure out why that keeps happening. That cannot go on. I totally disconnected the controller from the game just there. Nonetheless, race win. Number 4 is on the board. Points 4, or 40th set of points now achieved. One more win to go. Let's go and take a look at that race. So heading into the last race, managed to navigate down here just to cut the video a little bit shorter so you don't have to see me driving down to it. It is of course going to be the quick silver race. Max PR once again of 620. It's 2-lap circuits, foggy night time, it's on asphalt. And with that thought, I've stuck with the GT Continental, starting the video in the GT, ending it in the GT Continental. I love the car. It's my favourite Grand Tourer, so yeah, it's only fitting that I do round out today in this one. Auto PR'd the car for this race. So far, it doesn't look like it's going to be too wet of a race. I have got the standard road tyres fitted on that Auto PR tune. Oh, it is wet. It is. We can see that. Yep, okay. It is a slightly wet race. It looks like it actually is getting wetter as we go along here. And the GT having that auto PR just feels so damn sluggish, completely locking up under braking, so it is wet. It's going to be a tricky one to get those braking points really nailed down there. Hairpin just here, can we slide around that? Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, so it does seem like this race is wetter than it actually looks. Under braking especially, this GT just constantly wanted to lock up there. That's not ideal. Keeping it nice and tidy around the little left and right just there. Not all too much power to work with, I would say, to drag me out of the corners. It does feel very sluggish compared to the first race where we had no PR cap, or 1,000 PR cap essentially. Yeah, it does feel slightly sluggish, but I don't mind that. It gives a different dynamic to using the same car twice in these kind of races. Yeah, it does feel very wet underneath the car just here. We can actually see a little bit of spray coming up when we touch the wheels off the circuit just there, or the course rather. So yeah, a wetter race than what it does look. Oh wow, very wide just there, that's not ideal. Could have had a little shortcut there as well. So there is some shortcuts we can be taking here. I don't mind shortcuts, I don't like the wall riding, guys, you know that. But it is looking likely that we're going to have some shortcuts that we can be taking. If I remember right, this is the corner that does tighten into a right-hander. Yes it is, that's all good. Round the big sweeping right-hander again. Could have went a lot wider there so we could cut that corner tighter and make the apex. As I kind of put a lot of power through that one on the right-hander, we've seen the back end stepping out and all of that water spraying up again. We can see it coming off the front wheels there. So this race may be another one of those ones that may catch some people out. It is certainly a lot wetter than what it looks like. There we go, a huge power slide there, under load. I like this, it gives a big dynamic shift to the handling model, essentially the GT, which is very predictable as a vehicle. Put it on a kind of skid pan surface that I feel like we've got here. I like it, I'm happy with that one. It was a suspicion that we were going to get a bit of a wet race here, so it's a nice dynamic shift. The downside to this weekly event is I think all of those leaderboards where possible, I think every race bar one is going to be completely dominated by the take hand. It is unfortunate on my behalf because I don't want to be racing the EVs in the game. It's just not for me personally. I've given my thoughts on that many times before. It's Marmite, you might like them, you might hate them. I'm on the hate side in terms of racing games. I want that internal combustion noise where we can have it. So yeah, I'll be sticking with ICEs in the game. Managed to make that corner this time out. Remembered as I hit the brakes to kind of pulse them as I locked up last time in the Continental. Round the right hand hairpin, a little tap on the wall, but it's not too bad. And we make our way back round lap number 2 again, climbing uphill through the little forest section here, trying to keep it nice and tidy. Back end just stepping out a little bit there. That was unfortunate. Kind of want to keep it tidy for this last lap here. Maybe it'll make it look like I know what I'm doing in this game. I promise you guys, I am fairly competent. I am fairly competent, I'm just not putting on a good performance when I'm doing these live comms for the weekly events. It is what it is. Round the left-hander again, a little bit tighter again. Yeah, I feel like we're alright just there. Through the right hand, just dipping the wheels off the circuit. Doesn't feel like we're going to have too much of a consequence by doing so. And avoiding a lamppost, my word. We are improving. Round the right-hander again, not overly tidy, but it feels like we're a bit quicker than we were last time out. Again, missing the shortcut we could have taken across the road just there. There's time to be made up. This, of course, will be the longest race of all 5 races we've got in this live weekly event. We can see that by the distance of the race. So far, 4.5 minutes into it, and we're not even finished lap number 2. So yes, by far the longest race that we've got for this week's live weekly event. Big power slide into the right-hander, not ideal. Yeah, a little bit of time left on the board. Round the left-hander, a little bit of understeer, drop that into some oversteer, and I suspect we're going to get something similar around this right-hander. Under load, the back end may want to step out. Just working my way on and off the steering to stop the back end essentially from sliding out. Downhill, lock up, not ideal, into a bit of a power slide. I think we managed to save that one. Wasn't the quickest of left-handers, but yeah, I think we managed to save that one just a little bit. Using the central shrubbery to slow myself down, start to do that tactically across many races. Crossing over it doesn't actually feel too bad in the Continental, quite rightly so. This thing weighs so much and it should just blast through that central shrubbery, but nonetheless, race number 5 over and done, and a nice easy win. Where we do of course pick up the 5th set of points, all 50 now achieved. We've completed out this live weekly event very quickly indeed, where of course we get that exclusive reward of the GT sticker. Now, not to smash on it all too hard, you guys know I don't love sticker rewards, but in terms of a sticker reward, it's probably one of the better ones we've had. I don't mind it, but I do want to see that change season 4. And of course in year 2. So there we have it, live weekly event over and done with. Guys, let me know in the comments section what you thought of the races we had this week. Personally, I thought they were actually very good races. Good car selections that we could obviously work through. Yes, the Taycan is going to be very dominant in those races, but nonetheless, I do feel it was a good selection from the devs. I like the races, I like the car selections. Again, completely repeating myself there. Yeah, let me know your thoughts of it in the comment section down below. If you wouldn't mind, guys, please do leave a little like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Very close to 1,000 subs now, which is absolutely bonkers. I'd love to achieve it before the summer is out. Of course, as always, stay tuned for more content. Test Drive Limited, Solar Crown.